Hey songwriters, Danny Boyle here, founder of Songwriters International, where we help songwriters develop their craft and go on and sustain a career in music. Now, if you are a songwriter, an artist, a producer, and you want to develop your craft, then you're in the right place. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you haven't already, please consider dropping a subscribe for more videos on all things songwriting and monetizing your songs. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to write a hit chorus in just 3 simple steps. The chorus is arguably one of the most important parts of any song that you're going to write. And you've probably heard all of these sayings. You want your song to be hooky, or you want it to be catchy, or maybe you just want it to be simple. You want it to have that ear candy or earworm. You want it to be repetitive. I'm going to be breaking down all the core principles of how to do these things and more to make your song memorable and make the listeners of your songs want to sing it back time and time again so that your song can go on and actually be successful. So let's get into this. Let's go to step 1. Now, step 1 is arguably the most important part of this process, and that's why I've listed it at the top. Now, this is what it is. So we've got it on my chalkboard, and it's what we call a center hook. Now, the clue is in the name. The center hook is the central part of your song, the bit that the listener is going to come back to the most, the section of the chorus that is traditionally the most repeated, and then everything else is a little bit like a plant, right? You've got a plant, and let me move this off here. So, with a plant, you've got the main stem, okay? You've got the flower at the top, okay? And you can tell I didn't do art at school, but you've got it, and then you've got all of those stems that come off it. But the center hook is the main part of that chorus, is the backbone. So I'm going to share with you how to go about writing a center hook. So the center hook is going to be repeated the most. Now the center hook could be just a word, or it could be a line, okay? And you'll find the melody. Okay, so the center hook melody will always repeat. Okay, it might repeat a word, or it might repeat a line, or a set of words. Put that there, set of words. Okay, so it's a melody that is either going to repeat one word repeatedly, or maybe that word will change, but it'll still be the same melody. Or it could be a set of words, but with the same melody. So let me show you this in a real life example that I've put together for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't you feel your bum? I don't know it. I can be the one to Now, hopefully you can see from that example, we have a word which is being repeated, and it's the word I. So when we do it, and I don't, and it always comes back. So that is the center hook of that example, is the word I. Now what we could also do is we could, for the context of the song, dependent, we might need to use another word. We can't just use the word I, so it could be something like, I feel like I know it every time I feel your love, and why don't. So there we used every time, slightly changed the melody, then we used the word why, then we used the word I. It doesn't necessarily matter for the example what words we use, what lyrics we're using. I'm just trying to demonstrate the example. You would make it more specific. You would make sure it makes sense for your chorus when you actually come to write it. But what we're doing there is we're using a word and we're just looking to repeat it as a center hook. So now we're going to go into example 2. This time we're going to take a melody, because that's the backbone of the chorus. That's what's going to create the hook. And then we're going to use a line. Okay, we're going to keep the line, the melody of each line, the same. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't you go, cause I can't be. Don't you feel like ecstasy? Don't you feel like every day? Don't you feel like everything? Cause I can feel you everything. I can be your all that day. I can I can be Now you can see from that example, what does it have in common? Every line repeats the same. So the center hook itself is just the line, okay? And it's repeated there in that example 8 times. Now that might be a little bit too much for most choruses, but it emphasizes the point that we're trying to get across. So it could be one word like the I feel like I'm falling, so why don't you? So every time in that example, the center hook falls on the first word of the chorus. But in this other example, it's the line. It's not emphasis on one word. So why don't you just be here tonight? Why don't you just be by my side? So when we gonna be there by time? So why'd you don't decide? Right, again, doesn't matter about the lyrics here. What we're trying to get across is the backbone of the center hook. Now there's a very popular song by an artist called Billie Eilish. It's a song called Birds of a Feather. If you've heard it, great. If you haven't, go and give it a listen. But I'm going to show you hers and how she does it in her chorus. So what she does is she uses a word primarily, and she has the melody, and it keeps looping back round. So let me give you the example here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know what I'm crying for. I don't think I could love you more. Might not be done, but baby, I... Right, so from there, what can you see? When she starts the chorus, it's the I don't. It's the word I. So she uses a word as a center hook and keeps coming back to it. She does it twice, and then what she does is changes the word but keeps the melody. So the center hook remains the same, but the lyric is a little bit different on the third time round. Now I want to share with you another example. The example is in front of me. It's by an artist called Gracie Adams, and it's a song called That's So True. Now in the UK, where I am, this is the most popular song right now. It's had millions of plays. I will tell you actually how many plays this song has had. 60 million, okay? And it's only just recently been released. But let's get her lyrics back up and let's look at her chorus. So there's a reason I've written these words here, ooh, cool, roo. Because she uses a melody, okay? And she uses these words as the center hook, but she changes the words, okay? So I'm just gonna give myself a snap. I'm not gonna play the chords, but I'm gonna sing the chorus, and you can then see how she does the center hooks, okay? Ooh, bet you think she's so cool. Kicking back on your couch, making eyes from across the room. Right, so ignore my oohs, but I just want to emphasize, what is she doing? She's using the same melody, but these words are the center hook, the ooh. And as the listener, if you go and take a listen, that is the hook. It's the center hook. It's the most important part of the chorus that keeps coming back round. And then it starts to get stuck in your head. Now what she could have done is she could have kept it the same. So what she could have just done instead is she could have just done this. So she could have just done oohs instead. But what you've got to understand is she's using these words because they make sense in the context of the song. So when you come to write your chorus, you will then use the center hook principle, but you'll use the lyrics then that make sense, okay? So she could have used the same word like I did before with the I, and I just repeated it. But for her to make sense of the song, she had to use the words cool, and she had to use the word roo, I should say, okay? So she does that. And that is how you create a great center hook. This is the same principle in any genre, whether that's pop, rock, soul, funk, and anything else that you write. They follow the same core principles. And just imagine it like this. Here's our center hook, our main hook that keeps coming back round. And the chorus and the other lyrics are basically just designed to get us back there again, okay? So every time you're writing the lyric, you want to be able to come back round to that center hook. It could be a little ooh, it could be the word I, it could be anything for your song, but you're going to repeat it typically a minimum of 2 times, upwards to 6. You can really go to town with it and you can just keep hitting it home. But all of the great songs that you listen to follow this principle. They could be an ooh, just a short word, or they could be the same repeated line for 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Step 2. this is very important. This is the principle for 80 to 90% of great songs that you listen to, and that is that the title of your song, whatever that is, whether it's Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather, or whether it is Gracie Adams' song That's So True, or anything else for that matter, they all have one thing in common, and that is that the title of the song either comes in at the start or it comes in at the end. Now you can choose, it totally up to you for what makes more sense, but it either comes in at the end and it's the last bit that the listeners hear, or it's the first thing that the listeners hear. It could be either one for you to choose. So if you want the best chance of success with your chorus and you want the listeners to really take away that chorus title, and you want them to take away the general title of your song and have that little piece to remember, then the greatest place to pop them is at the start as soon as your chorus comes in, or right at the end as they're transitioning into verse 2. Now finally into step 3. What is this? It is spiked hooks. This is something that I've talked about a lot on the past few videos because they are absolutely crucial. They are the success to a great center hook. Okay, if you can use the center hooks with this, with spikes, you are going to win every time. Now, spikes, their official name when it comes to melodies is called disjunct, but I also just call them spikes, okay? And I call them spikes because it's far easier for you to visualize and far easier for you to understand. Now a spiked melody looks a little bit something like this, right? We are trying to create a spike in the melody. Let's give an example. Let's suppose you saw one of your friends over the other side of the road and it was in a busy town or city. You would be inclined to shout them, "Hey!" like this. You would spike the way that you were trying to get their attention. This is the same principle in songwriting. Now we're not necessarily going to be so aggressive with it, like a "hey!" like that. We can do sometimes, it works in some songs, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the core principle of what we're trying to create. A great example of this, above everything else, is a song by Bon Jovi. It's called Living on a Prayer. We all love that song. Now, if we do it, imagining we're drawing it on a graph, and he does the, "Oh, we're halfway there, oh," he really goes for it. "Oh, we're halfway there, oh." That is a spike. Or if we take a look at that Gracie Adams song that we were just going through, that ooh, da, 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 that's so cool. That's another way in which you can create a spike. Now I'm going to share with you an example here that I'm just going to put together of how we create a spike. What we're going to do, we're going to start the chorus for this example quite straight, quite static. That's for another video where I talk about static melodies. And then we're going to use that spiked theory. But let me put it up on here just for you to visualize. So we're going to go for that, okay? We're going to go for that mountain, okay? So let's start it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't you go, so don't you leave, 'cause I can't be the one. And again. So don't you go, so don't you leave, 'cause I don't know why I've been. Now, that's a simple way to create a spike, and we also had a center hook with that. So let's put the two together, alright? We'll use the same chords. I'm going to create a center hook, and I'm going to use the spiked melodies, and you can see how these two pieces then come together and actually create a great song. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't you leave me here tonight. Don't you go and leave my side, 'cause I can't be the only one. Can give me your love, it's what I need. Now you can see from that example we used the word don't. We also spiked that melody, and we could also say the chorus is "Don't go break my heart," right? So there we go. We've got all of the core principles in there. We've got the title at the beginning, we've got a spiked melody, and we've got a center hook that we keep alluding to and coming back too. And they are the 3 key principles to writing a great chorus that listeners love, that you love, that you're super proud of, that hooks them into your song, that then you can go on and monetize if you so wish and desire to do so. So that's how we do it. Follow those, and I can guarantee you'll find the process of writing choruses that little bit easier. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to speak with me one-to-one and I can help you with your songs, specifically your choruses and different things, then you can book a call with me below in the description if you so wish to do so. Please consider dropping a subscribe for more videos just like the one that you've watched here, and I'll see you over on another video.